Hello, everybody. We're just waiting for the last step here, which it is. Here we go. Perfect. I know it's a little frozen here, but okay, it's moving here. Okay, perfect. Hello, Zahana. Wow. Things are shifting a lot. I don't even know how to describe what's going on right now. All I can say is I'm seeing through the veil, outside the veil, etc. How to describe it? Well, first, it's just like hypercharged with energy, not able to sleep, not able to just even function sometimes, like walking around and just feeling like electrocuted or other things. And I've been seeing a lot of really intense breakdowns in situations I'm having with people, friends, relationships, and just seeing them in whole new ways. And it's freaking intense because stuff that I thought was truth and this is how a relationship works and how you be friends with people and all this kind of stuff are breaking down, and they're like, it's like completely, excuse my French, fucked, because how to describe it? It's like people use these like little manipulation tactics to invert responsibility for themselves. For example, I gave help to somebody that needed help setting up a website and all this kind of stuff. And it's allowing that person to escape from a kind of a negative situation with their current job. And we go to the trouble of setting everything up and getting the software booked and this kind of stuff. And then they're blowing it up along the way, like book the setup meeting for like 2 weeks after, when they're starting to pay right then. Why wouldn't you want to do it tomorrow or as soon as the next meeting was? And then asking for help and then getting mad when they trip me and make me fall on my face 15 times for not making it forward. It's like, how can I even set it up if I don't have the password for the site? And then it was like, I can't give it to you. I can't give it to you. And I was getting so mad, and then they'd cancel at the last minute, and then they'd want to start again when all of a sudden they got enough courage, and then they'd slam the door on me again. And finally I just stood up and I wrote this text back and I said, I'm not really seeing you're even committed to this, and you want me to be responsible for keeping you committed and being, whether you succeed or fail, and I won't sign up for this. Either we're going forward, we're going to set a really rock solid time and I'm going to get the password, we're going to go, or whatever. And then it led to a conversation and a talk. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, they can't hide anymore. Oh, they're in fear because the situation is so bad. But I'm seeing it in every relationship that I've had that's never worked out. There was this like unstated lie or this unstated request, or they wanted help, but they weren't committed to working on the thing that they were getting help from. And then afterwards they'd explode into a million pieces and they'd blame me because I gave them exactly what they wanted from me. And then they're resentful and seeing underneath this inverted matrix where things are not really what's actually being said or unsaid. That's the worst part, is the unsaid, is hard. It shows I've always been really generous and helpful and give and see things for people, and they accept that they want to see that thing and they want some help and all this kind of stuff. And then afterwards it blows up in a million pieces and I'm like completely confused because so much was unsaid. It's like, are you really committed into this? Do you really want this thing? Do you love it when it's coming through me so that you can kind of put another face or whatever in front? I do IT work for a living, and I see this a lot where people put the software or the hardware or whatever in front of their responsibility to themselves and their own energy. It's like, oh, the tool should be doing this. Oh, this printer should work. Oh, this computer should work, or whatever, when they don't trust any of the equipment. And then all of a sudden their failure to themselves is showing up in the real world, in their reality and the relationships and how things work around them. So all that is burning down now. I'm seeing underneath it. And the only way path true is is to be direct and start asking questions about people's engagement and their commitment to their own work and start to move through it. So in one of my questions, I say, what is the veil? So the veil is, how to describe it. At one point, I thought, okay, this is the way the veil's put before me by God so that I don't remember my past lives and my true energetic self and the fact I'm a higher self and an infinite being. Well, the veil here on earth got a lot more complicated over time. There's a whole bunch of angry little children that were in power that created darkness, malevolence, demonic entities, Satanism, all this kind of shit on this planet. And it's been going on for a long time. So the veil got added to. It was like, okay, when you're going to come in, you're going to come in with this like clamp around your neck, and we're going to suck your energy because that's the price of coming into this. And we're kind of like batteries or a loosh factory or whatever. And then we were born into parents that have these same veils and these same things hooked into them to keep us at a low enough vibration that we can still be controlled, we can still be manipulated, and this energy can be taken from us. So we're born, and then we get a whole bunch of societal conditioning. This is the shame and guilt around sexuality. This is the shame and guilt around not being married, divorce, all these kind of things. There's all these stories, all these controls. You must pay taxes. You must give power to your electric company and your bank and your IRS and all these kind of things so that you can be controlled. And most of us come into it, we don't even know we're being controlled. It's got to the point where we're just happy little sheep in this story. And the story, most of us know it's the Cinderella story, and women, it's like becoming Cinderella. Men, it's like being the knight and getting the castle and having the kids and being happily ever after. And those of us that have got to middle age, had midlife crises, all this kind of stuff, we start to see it's not real and it's not true. And there's a lot of control and non-freedom in there. So the veil is all these things that are put in front of our faces, all these lies that say, okay, the government's good and they're looking after us and they don't have other intentions and other responsibilities. It's all bullshit. There's so much that's not true in what we're told every day. And then the media, all these mechanisms, frequencies, technologies, poisons, toxins that are sent into the world to keep us numb and not asking questions. So that's the veil. So in this situation that I was talking about with the friend that I was helping on all this kind of stuff, it got to the point that it wasn't respecting me and there was something seriously wrong. So I was getting angry and I'm like, why am I angry? And I just wanted to help. But it was like I committed, but that person did not commit. And then they're like, well, hurry up and I'm changed my mind. I want you again or whatever. And it's just like dragging me along for this fight or flight of being afraid or not wanting to proceed on this thing or trying to stay safe by keeping the old around, but scared to move forward and have some own control and power. So we've developed these mechanisms where we become codependent on other people. We find other people that are light and happy and excited and involve them in our experiences so that, and they don't even realize it, it's so that they don't have to be self-accountable. They don't have to be in integrity with themselves. They can involve somebody else in the decision and then give blame to that person afterwards so they don't have to take self-responsibility. And like I said, most of these people that are involved in this behavior, it's learned behavior. It's been taught by parents and exes and all this kind of stuff. So we, in the end, are not really being responsible for the things that we do. And in this case, to call people into accountability, to call them into commitment to themselves, to shine out and say, oh, there's something funny going on here. It can be really hard for people and it scares the shit out of them. And now all of a sudden you don't have this person beside you taking responsibility for you or somebody that you can blame and be really angry at. And I found this has happened a lot of times in my life. How many times have you helped the person a lot and then later on found out they were really, really resentful of you? They really hated you. I've had experiences. I did a podcast with a person for beginning part of this year for like 6-8 months straight. And then one day it was like, they didn't show up anymore. And then I'm listening to their own lives and they're saying that they took too much advice from someone and didn't even have the courage to have a conversation with me about it, and then hated me and wandered off. Never a word said. Luckily, I saw the podcast, or else I wouldn't even have known that it happened. Something changed. They weren't happy with where their life was, whatever. I love to give advice. I love to give channeled information to people because that's what my role is on this. I see through people's veils. I see through their personal lies to themselves. I hold them accountable to what's going on and what they need and what they want, and nudge them and push them, not against their will, because that's implied in my life. If you want to come into my life, that's who I am. And it's scary, but it's for the highest good of everyone. Everybody's a piece of each other. And I don't want to see people in codependent acting out and all this kind of stuff. So I'll mention things. And that can be uncomfortable sometimes. And that's the quickest moment of growth. But I'm now starting to make agreements. And I stated it in one of my lives a day or two ago. How are agreements important? Well, agreements to me is if I see something, I'm going to bring it to the light and I'm going to talk about it, because I want that for you. Whether or not you like it or not is up to you. And you can say, hey, no, I did not give you permission to talk about this, or this doesn't feel comfortable. I'll stop right then and there. But until that moment, it's implied that that's acceptable because you're joining into my life. This is who I am. This is how I live. If I do it for me, I'm going to do it for you. That's not disrespect. That's the most honor I could ever give a person, is to shine light into that little shadow, that self-deprecation, that not worthy, all this kind of stuff. I'm going to say it. It's like, why did you say that? That's not good for you. I'm going to hold you in commitment to this thing that you want me to commit on, and I'm going to pull you right into it. And from then on, I'm going to hold you in your decisions. I'm going to remind you what you agreed to and what you said, because you need it and you don't even know you need it yet. And it's going to make you feel safe, and it's going to get you out of codependence, and it's going to get you out of this bullshit where you're lying to yourself. You want to hide. You don't want to be self-responsible. If you want to be in my life, you got to be self-responsible, accountable, and vulnerable. And I've said that in every forum, every post, every other thing, because I live that way. And I can't live that way with a person and then not ask for that same. And honesty and integrity, those are really massive words right now that a lot of people aren't ready to go to. But it's because when you see this light shining out of me, it came from me honoring myself with integrity and honesty and self-responsibility and vulnerability and accountability. And I'm here to teach that, to let people in that aren't going to do that, or that want to whine and complain that that's too hard and that's is more than I asked for or whatever. Well, you can go sit in the cheap seats with other people, because that's the price of admission to have this life. And eventually you're going to learn it. I'm going to just accelerate you along that path. And it's not because I want to hurt anybody or I disrespect people or whatever. I just won't put up with this pussyfoot bullshit where people aren't taking accountability. They want to blame everybody for their own shit. Own it right here and now. Own it. The veil explodes into a million pieces when you're loving yourself. You're not trying to please people. This veil has to break down. This reality is breaking down of this shared experience around control and darkness, because light's shining out of it and there's no choice. We're going to have to be accountable and self-responsible and vulnerable and in integrity and honest, because that's the only way we're going to get through what's about to happen. What's about to happen is a cataclysm of all the lies are going to show up, and everybody's going to be like, where's my foundation? Everything fell apart. Light's going to shine on everything. And the only way through is transparency, is vulnerability, is being responsible for what's going on in your life, being vulnerable about it so you can get it free from out of you. That's what light workers are here to do, is provide containers to shine light into people so that they can move through this as quickly as possible. And I can't do that as a light worker if I'm scared or will let people get mad at me for shining that light on them. No, I got to hold them accountable. I got to hold them by the shoulders. If they don't want to be held by the shoulders, then tell me and we won't. But I'm going to stand there until we get through it. Because it's fucking hard. It wasn't fun. But if you can sit around and join with people in a community of people that are all shining this, it's going to be freaking easy. It's like standing as the black sheep trying to convince everyone, or say the sky's falling and nobody believes it. Well, the sky's falling. The reality is falling apart. The darkness has lost its hold. Holy fuck, what the hell's going on? And that's not meant to be scary. That's meant to find people you can rally around that are holding these new principles and will invite you to share in them. It's so funny. I just love watching people come up and down off the live. And as soon as I hit something that triggers people or doesn't resonate with them, they're off the live in a second. Because this is truth, and people know it's truth, and they're scared of the truth, and they're scared that they're going to have to be accountable to themselves eventually, because a world without accountability is a 3D world. It's a bunch of people blaming and shaming and pointing fingers at everybody else, being victims and not taking responsibility, not accountability. Fuck, this is happening to me. Fuck, it's ugly. Fuck, I hate it. But I want better. I want the world to be a better place. I'm holding in integrity, and I will not expect that from you until I've expected it from me and fully embody it. And that's why people are drawn. They want to feel this. They want people that are at, they may whine and complain, and I'm not going to allow that anymore in my life, but that's them holding on to the old. Oh, this worked so well before. I didn't have to be accountable. Oh, it's not scary. I'm going to tell you right now, it's way less scary and way more comfortable and way more integral. And you feel self-love when you're taking accountability for your actions. You're speaking openly. Oh, that wasn't good. Oh, I maybe lied in that point, but now I see the lie and I'm being truthful. And here's what I now know. And yeah, I changed my mind. And here's why I changed my mind, because something was different. That may sound hard, but that's beautiful. That's shining light into the things that were clouded and gray and veiled inside of us, so that now other people can see through their own veils and their own crap and all of this. This structure, this control mechanism, all these stories, all these ways of inverting responsibility and everybody not being accountable has to fall apart, because it's like a foundation with a whole bunch of termite damage or built on shale or whatever. First earthquake, all of a sudden everything's just like shearing off. We want granite. We want granite foundations. We want one that will be unshakable. And people can come back to me and say, I don't agree with you. And it's like, okay, great. Why don't you agree with me? I'll shine my light. And if it's wrong and you're shining bigger light, I'll accept whatever shows up. But if it's not, you're going to get a full dose of a new reality, not because I won't accept it anymore, where it's like, oh, well, geez, you aren't with the team and whatever. I don't want to be with that team. Run, run, run. That old reality, the reason we feel insanity is because the old way is so broken and the new way is just so much in truth, so much in communication, so much in owning our shit. And that's never happened before. And nobody knows. So this has to happen. This breakdown has to happen. And it's coming to bring a better place with that new foundation. There's light workers all over the place that are accepting this stuff. There's a lot of people that don't just think this is like drivel coming out of my mouth. What the hell's wrong with it? None of it makes any sense. Well, if you're behind the veil, it can't make sense. But there's a link behind the veil that's saying, oh, I felt that experience. Oh, why is he coming from a different experience that eventually will penetrate the veil? That's why I sit here and say this. This is why I share. So few people sometimes watch my videos. It drives me nuts, but I know it's truth. People don't like the emotion. They don't like the hardness, the pain, the suffering. Well, when the shit is falling out in the world and all the truth comes out, people are going to be begging to have this kind of truth shared with them. And that's what I'm here for. And when we get out the other side of this and people are popping sideways, I'm here to teach. I'm here to stand in front of people. I'm here to show a new perspective, self-responsibility, vulnerability. This is the foundation that people are going to hold on to. Self-responsibility means no victim. You are responsible, and your higher self brought in every bad thing that you think happened to you, to teach you, to share with you, to get you advanced, to move you through that victim. And then accountability means you are handling and dealing with whatever shows up in your life. If you're angry, projecting it on somebody else to make them angry too isn't helping anybody. But to say I'm accountable, it's like, fuck, I am triggered. This is not fun. What's going on? And then, can I talk to you about this? I don't know what to do with this. This is scary inside. That's accountability. It's like something's going on here and you've just triggered me in it. Can you help me through it? And then you can be accountable. But if you get angry and you want to whip them and slash them, nobody wins. That's the old way. The new way is, holy shit, this is heavy. And more than likely, if they triggered you, this thing might have gold for them inside too. And then you're both talking about, oh, my mother did this. Oh, my dad did that. This was scary. This was whatever. And all of a sudden you got somebody to share it with. And instead of hacking and slashing and dismembering everybody around you, you're now being accountable and saying, okay, this wasn't fun. Why did I do it? I feel much better now that I've talked about it. Vulnerability, share it, go deep. Go talk about everything. You're going to find out that you're not weird. You're not strange, that it happened to hundreds of other people, but so many people are hiding it. Sexual abuse, trauma, rapes, getting beaten up as a man, raped as a man, all this kind of stuff is all things that are there. I was controlled by my boss. I was sexual misconduct or whatever at work. All these things are inside of us. Oh, my mother did that. My father did that. My sister did this. My brother did that. There's tons of it. It's happening all over the place. It was meant to happen to keep you small and keep you under the veil and controllable. But now you're breaking out. You're saying, oh, this happened and I'm okay. And maybe it wasn't good or whatever. And eventually you're going to find forgiveness. And eventually you're going to say, oh, that taught me some new boundaries. That taught me to learn this stuff. These tools, this shift, all the crap that's falling apart around us is to funnel us into this new foundation. And I want to give that new foundation. This is not stuff that's just simple to just pick up. But once you get down to the base level and you got shaken through all your bad old foundation, you're going to be responsible what's can't give my power away to victimhood. I need to be accountable of what's going on. And finally, I need to be vulnerable. And then through those things, you're going to work. And then eventually you're going to find integrity and you're going to start being direct in communication and have courage and confidence. And the way to get through everything is clear communication, speaking from your emotion and moving all that stuff so that we can be bigger and better. And it's so beautiful, this process, but it can also feel like the skin is being torn off your body because all this stuff that was our foundation, was our truth, was real, was acceptable, all of a sudden is not. And why? Why did I let this happen? Why do I believe this? Why do I? Well, once those whys are there and you can start to say, oh, frick, I never even had a chance. That was taught to me as a child before I could even discern if it was good or bad. Well, guess what? You're through the veil. You're through the veil. This is awakening. This is consciousness. This is breaking through, waking up. And that's my job, is to help people ascend, wake up, be their guide, etc. And I'm going to hold you firmly, and I'm going to be direct with you, and I'm going to be in integrity with you. I'm not going to yell and scream at you. It may sound like it's yelling and screaming at you by talking about this. This is intensity. This is the truth. This is the energy that's intended to break through, shake up, and wake people up. So this has to happen. For everyone to ascend, this has to happen. And I'm giving you breadcrumbs. I'm showing you in advance what I had to go through to get here, because I'm ready. I'm ready to give up all this shit, understand all the stuff that's going on underneath, and finally forgive it, move on, and accept and self-love myself completely. And this may not seem like it. This is self-love. This is me explaining why people think I'm too direct, why I'm all these things. But it's not bad. It's not me in wound. It's me in, holy fuck, this has been me underneath, and I really needed to be. And I was told I was bad. I was wrong. I was not worthy. So many times to not talk direct, I scare people. I'm not. Everything that I've done in the past, they maybe didn't understand, and they couldn't understand. They couldn't be aware of, because it was too scary. It was like too direct. And it's like, oh, that might mean I have to realize my world's a lie. It's okay. Love you. But eventually you're going to have to learn all this stuff. And all the gold's in here. Look at my YouTube page, look at my Facebook page. Nothing's a lie. Yes, everything's intense, and I'm talking about emotion, my own wounds, all those kind of things. You're all going through those same things in a lot of ways. And to disavow them is not self-loving to ourselves. So that's why I talk about it. I talk about stuff that's hard, that's complicated. There's lots of people that love this stuff. And I know for sure that some people are watching this stuff and it's helping them awaken. And that's the reason I do it, because I love you. I want more and more people by my side, walking in this integrity, standing in 5D and shining and loving. And it's going to be amazing. So what to do about it is the last question. There's nothing. It's naturally going to happen. Everybody's on a different schedule. Everybody's looking for different people to work with, to be aware of, to help smash them open. And you're going to have love experiences and guru experiences and mentor experiences and friends and lovers that are all going to come in, and you're all going to have all these experiences until eventually these things all fade away. Your higher self designed them for you. You just have a choice. Do you take the quick path, which might be full of discomfort and pain and directness and lots of communication, or do you just kind of sit there and let the universe kind of shake you up and put some earthquakes on you and some volcanoes randomly? No, choose the hard path. The living your light community, the awakening through sexuality community, these all have tools that are going to shake people up really quickly, clear off all the bullshit, and guide them forward. And that's my devotion to the world, to the universe, my service. It's like, if we can get back into our sexuality, we can use our pleasure, our healing, all the beautiful hormones and things that are released in our brain. Our living your light community is a bunch of people that are living in self-responsibility, accountability, and vulnerability, and holding you in that too. When you're talking with other people, they're going to bring it up and they're going to help you just pat off your old shit and spray down and release all those old things in an accountable way. That's what I want for people. Not to people stumble around blind and hope they figure it all out. No, giving tools and places that people can go to that accelerate the process, so you can stay in as little struggle as possible to move into bliss and pleasure and fun. Because that's my ultimate goal. That's what this world needs. Without people that are willing to shine like this, to show that I made the path and I'm like scarred to shit because I had all these relationship problems and bullshit and sat in the inversion for so long and had business failures and lost my houses and stuff like that. It's part of the process, and it will take you right to the ground, take all your money away, almost lose all that safety until you start to see none of those things matter. What matters is what's in here, and my integrity and my self-responsibility and my accountability and my honesty, because that's me. Thank you, Jens. Yeah, this is my absolute truth. I hope it's taken with love. And as always, if there's questions, put them down below. Otherwise, have a great day. I love you all. See you soon, and keep shining, because you deserve it, as do I. Love you.